Welcome everyone, Jim Williams here, coming to you from the beautiful paradise of Central Florida. JWW on the move, welcome. Today is, let's see, what is today? Today's the 31st of January, 2026. It's Saturday, and our trip continues as Adam and I are traversing the country. And we are visiting all the places that we lived, and I'm putting this trip into a historical context by going chronologically to the places where we lived. Now, we lived in LeRoy, Illinois, and then we moved to Panama City, Florida. And I wasn't preaching in Panama City, Florida. We attended the Christian Church of Panama City, but I was not the minister there. We lived there only about 3 months because I couldn't get any work. And so we moved to Pensacola, Florida, where we lived for 3 years.
Heading towards Panama City. We have just crossed over into Central Time Zone. We just lost that. Time travelers.
That's us.
Locomotive 444. Just sitting here along the tracks. M&B 102. All right, Dad, take us back to 1981.
1981. The picture you're looking at is the house we moved into. We took that photograph, and that is the house right there that we're looking at here on Cherry Street in Panama City, Florida.
How many months did we live here?
Lived here about 3 months.
I'm noticing that they have fixed on the far end, the carport section is now flattened as opposed to when you had your car parked under there. It kind of had like a little elevated. But also noticing that the wrought iron fencing that holds up the awning is still there.
You mean the wrought iron posts?
The wrought iron posts.
Yep, they're still there.
As well as looking down Cherry Street. Cherry Street or Cherry Ave?
Cherry Street.
Cherry Street, which I thought it was dirt, but you said it was paved, just like a lot of dirt over it. The same amount of power poles are still down there. So if you look back at the photo of the house and you look at the power poles and that store at the end, 3 months we lived here? I would have been 8 years old. 8 or 9, I've been 9 years old.
We got a picture of here.
Now where do we live before here and after here?
Before we moved here in 1981, we lived in LeRoy, Illinois. And then when we left from here, we moved to Pensacola, Florida.
One thing I'm also noticing is the wrought iron, I keep saying wrought iron, but the chain link fence over there with a topper that is very distinct. You'll notice that in the photograph that you took from the road. There is that chain link fence with that topper that is very distinct with the mailbox and the post over there. New paint job though, it is now painted beige. Another interesting thing that happened in this, when we moved in, I hurt myself.
That's right.
On a pole. It was the
bottom of a clothing rack.
A clothing rack was in the yard and we were moving in. I stepped on it and the clothing rack flipped up and hit me below the eye.
Right below your left eye.
And I had a scar there for many, many, many years. And it happened right there in front of that front door. It was pretty painful. I do recall that. Even at 9 years old, I can remember back to that happening. We were only here 3 months.
Yep.
Here on Cherry Street, or Cherry Lane, Cherry Ave.
Okay, we're coming up on the same house from a different angle. And
this is an abandoned one. It looks similar to
we thought this might have been it, but it's not.
You notice a lot of these houses on the street are abandoned. Like this one here is abandoned. This car's just sitting desolate. And you can see this broken out glass.
Yeah. And I think this may have been where our landlord lived. because they lived right next to us, or one door down. Looks like this was right next to us. And you'll notice the step up to the front door. We had to step up to their front door to go in their house. So that's what I think. This was our landlord's house. And then this is the Cherry Street house that we lived in. Not sure anybody's here except that car does look like somebody might be.
And it's the same green step up to the door. The same green step up that's in the photograph.
In the photograph, yeah.
And I hate to keep reiterating myself, but there's those
wrought
iron pieces.
Yeah.
Next spot here in Panama City.
All right, now we're going to go over to the church that we attended for a brief time while we were living over on the other side of town.
Real quick, like before heading out, the top of that metal piece is gone, but the middle S is still over there.
The design inside the wrought iron there. That's what you're talking about?
Yeah. Let me zoom in. Look at that.
That's amazing.
After how many years? 81. 40 years ago.
And right. She's still as beautiful as ever. My wife. Your mom.
She's definitely going to enjoy watching these videos.
Yep.
Should also mention a story about my mom. She always describes, over the years, I've always heard her tell stories of me and her walking to the store to get food and stuff, and she never liked the smell of the paper mill that was down the road. And when we pulled into this neighborhood, I could smell the paper mill, or at least a mill of some sort.
Yep.
The stories are true.
They are. Something else I remember about this house, son, is that after we'd been there, I don't know, maybe a month or so, the carpet smelled like dog mess. And your mom just kept complaining. So we went over to the landlord's house and asked them if we could rip the carpet out. So one night, your mom and I ripped out all the carpet in the house so it wouldn't stink, smell like a dog urine. And then when we finally moved out, when we did move over to Pensacola, they wouldn't give us our security deposit back because we ripped the carpet out of the house. Oh gosh, what an experience.
Now, according to that billboard up there, it says the building has been sold with an exclamation point.
Okay, in 1981,
this was an add-on.
This probably from here over is an add-on, because we parked the U-Haul truck right at the back door here, so we could plug in our refrigerator and freezer
before moving into the house over on Cherry.
Into the house on Cherry Street. Yeah, exactly. This was the original front entrance to the building.
So the sanctuary was in here? Or the sanctuary was here?
The sanctuary was here. This is where the sanctuary was.
And from here we went to Pensacola.
Yeah, the goal was to get work here in Panama City, but I never could get any real work. So then found an opportunity in Pensacola. So we moved over to Pensacola later in 81, in time for your sister to be born in December there in Pensacola at the hospital. I think that's where we used to try to get you to go in the water.
I was afraid of the water?
You didn't like the water when you were young.
Sun is slowly starting to descend. It's 5:30 p.m. With the hour time change, it's 6:30 by driving times. That's going to do it for today. An eventful trip so far. Day one. A lot of good memories. See you in the next video. The trip will continue. the vlog is over. This rest stop has one of the Blue Angels up here on this pole. Still en route to Pensacola. I'm gonna try this windshield wiper. Oh, there it goes. Okay, oh, the car is alerting me that it's... So the way it works is you... There we go. You almost have like an impromptu car wash. That's pretty neat. New Yorker Deli and Pizzeria. What's the significance of this, Dad?
Like in 1981, when your mom and I moved down here to Pensacola, I started working for an insurance agency called A.L. Williams. And this was our office.
Drove a few blocks over, well, a mile or two over, to this park, where back in the day there was a concert, an outdoor event. And this road that's in front of this structure, this very short road, is Adams Street. I thought it would be, well, either my parents or myself thought it would be fun to get a photo of me, named Adam, in front of the street sign. And we have a photo to document that of myself in front of Adams Street.
And we think we've actually found that same sign right here at this corner.
Yeah, there's the tree limbs up there in the distance, and the sign. But this is, side note, this is an old pay meter.
How about that?
Parking meter as well. And the sign in question on the corner of Zaragoza Street, and there's Adams Street in the historical district of Pensacola. Am I still as thin as I was back then?
Yeah, but you're a little taller.
I'm still as thin though, right, Dad?
Yeah, right. That's cool.
Let's put a thinning filter on this video.
There you go. That'll work.
Can you see the sign in the frame?
Yeah, I can now.
30 years later.
How about
30
that?
years? Am I getting that math right?
That's close.
40 years. 40 years later.
Yeah.
Got an oversized transport up here. Oh, he's going around that tree limb.
Missing the tree limbs, yeah.
Trying to figure out what that is. That's a mystery.
He's about to turn left.
Is it going to turn? We might get a view of
Maybe
what...
we can get a reading on the side.
Yeah.
Nope.
There's nothing on the side.
Nothing.
Look at this.
Is that a septic tank?
It might be. I don't know what that is.
One day, we're just in the house and we heard this. It sounded like an airplane landing. Oh, it sounded like it was going to land on our house. But it never seemed to pass. It just stayed over our house. And anyway, we went outside and it was a blimp.
Made it over to Forest Glen Drive. This is dated September of 1981. You have the pin there. And there's me and Dad on the front steps, which looks considerably different. The house has been repainted, but those steps are still there, as well as the awning. And we have a number of photos
of the front
door, and there was a dog on the front door.
A weenie dog.
We didn't even have a weenie dog at that time. There's you in front there in the driveway.
Yep.
And this is also where my sister...
That's right.
Where we were living when my sister was born. She was not born in the house, but was brought back to the house. And I had a friend that lived directly across the street, and I went to stay with him when you took Mom.
That's what we did.
To the hospital.
Yep.
What's the next photo? Okay, there we go. More of me in front of those stairs.
And there was a tree in the front yard. It's gone now. By the driveway. There's our car, and there's that tree, and you were standing up against that tree.
Oh, there I am as a pirate.
Yep.
And there's the weenie dog.
Peeking behind you.
Same bricks. Wow.
How about that?
Let's walk a little closer and kind of get that angle from here. Here's the driveway where your car was. This is also where my sister learned to walk. She first learned to walk right here next to the driveway. There's Mom and my sister who are falling over, taking her some of her first steps.
There's that tree I mentioned a moment ago, and there's the driveway.
Wow. I kind of like the paint scheme before more. And this is in the backyard. There I am pulling her around in a little red wagon, my sister.
Looks like you're yanking her down. Fall back.
She's going too fast. This is the backyard here. Okay, this is over at a park. We'll go over there in a moment. And actually, that's the friend that I stayed at his house across the way. I went and stayed with him when my sister was born. And we're going to go by the park and show that. We did go by and notice that the big wheel thing that we're in is gone now. And there's also...
We're going to see if we can find where the pool used to be.
Find the pool. I think the pool might have been removed. But we'll drive by where the pool was as well. Another pool holding my nose in the 9-foot section. It gives us the, wow, 40, almost 40 years ago.
Yeah.
A few months shy of 40 years.
Pretty amazing.
All right, let's go over to the park where the pool was and over to our second home.
Yep.
We live in 2 spots. There was this one and another one off of Leesway Boulevard. It was just 1 block up. Not far at all to the park. Now this looks considerably different. There was a huge wooden structure in the middle, like a 2-story structure almost.
Like a wheel.
And there was the wheel. And I recall your mom, my grandma, came to visit, her and Grandpa, and we went by here, came to the park, and there was so much here that's been torn down that her comment was, how much does it cost? Is it free? Because she thought it was such an entertainment complex of sorts that they were going to charge admission. Looking at it now, you would never think that comment would ever even be made. Because it's been just, all the old stuff has been demolished. Yeah, looks a lot different than it did back 1981, 82. All right, heading over to the second house here in Pensacola. Oh, by the way, we couldn't find the pool. And my fondest, well, unfondest memory was almost burning the property down. I had played with matches. And burned down the greenhouse in the backyard, as well as the half of the wooden fence. And you showed up, and there were fire trucks out front, and you had to park down the road. Remember that?
I do. I pulled up, I was coming up Leesway, and I saw all these fire trucks. I thought, wow, something's going on. It got closer and closer and closer, and it's at my house.
So what I'm curious about, if we go around to the back and see if we can find where the fence that Grandpa replaced the fence.
That'd be neat to find. One more thing about this house is that I come home from work one day, and your mom says that you weren't feeling well. You are in your bedroom. And I go in the bedroom, and there you are, white as a sheet. We took you to the doctor, and the doctor said, you go over right now to the emergency room, and they had an emergency appendectomy on you. I think your appendix had burst. That was that was very painful. Thankfully, there is an apartment complex here. So we're out looking at the backyard of the fence. Now, my recollection was it was in the far corner of the yard. So if we go this way, the greenhouse was in the far corner of the yard, all the way at the end. So if we go here,
to where the other connection is. Now, none of these look to be replaced. So here's the corner of the yard. It'd be in here. I'm not really seeing a distinct change in color pattern, though, are you?
No. It's hard to tell.
Po Folks. Except I recall it being a standalone restaurant. This is part of a strip mall now. I guess the standalone is now gone, but kind of a win in Rome moment when you're in the Florida Panhandle. Gotta go with some Po Folks. Never been in this particular one though, but definitely enjoy some Po Folks. Always as a family, this was kind of a treat to go to Po Folks, which I believe is short for poor folks. It's a southern way of saying poor folks, Po Folks. Good old southern cooking and relatively inexpensive. Oh yeah, that was a good call. A tasty meal, and also got some moon pies. Fun fact, the first place I ever ate a moon pie when I was young was at POFO.
Now I'm going to show you the church building, Gulf Coast Christian Church in Pensacola. Once again, I did not preach at this church. I was just a member there, and it was in Pensacola where faith was born. Now, this is the church building we're about to show you. I just wanted to make sure you understood. I was not preaching at this church. This is simply where we attended.
This isn't the original building.
This is not the original building. All this is new stuff. Okay, hang on 1 second. Go real slow right here. This building immediately to my right was the first new building they built. They first met in a house, and then they built this building, and then they tore the house down years later and built this huge sanctuary worship center over here. And this would have been the original parking lot from here. Lots of pine trees.
Yeah, I remember a lot of pine trees, and I do remember the house that we met in.
Yep.
And you and I would do puppet shows.
We did some puppet shows, sure did.
In that house.
Yep.
And right over here where this warehouse now is, was where all the trees were. I was looking at some satellite images and kind of turned the time back, and the house would have been right about here.
Right.
In this precise. And you slept in that house for quite some time.
I did. There was a time period for about a month or so when your mom and you were still living over in Panama City, and I was arranging getting a job over here in Pensacola, and they let me sleep on the nursery floor on an air mattress during the week.
Right here, where that
house,
parking lot is, right there.
That's pretty cool.
But just picture, this parking lot was all pine trees. Did I say palm trees? I meant to say pine trees.
Pine tree, grass and pine trees.
And my sister, at a very young age, stepped in an ant bed right in here and was covered in ants.
In the house, I think there was a shed back there.
There still is a shed, not the same shed, but
probably not the same shed. And the grass caught on fire. It started burning, and a guy had moved down that he knew from a previous church somewhere up north, had moved down here to live in Pensacola. And he had an extra car that he wasn't using, and it was parked out there, and it burned up.
It burned the car?
Burned the car up. Yeah.
Wow.
Now, this was the first building they built after the house. The house would have been over here.
Okay.
And then this was like a fellowship hall, and then in the back part of it was some classrooms and stuff. And this is you.
That building's completely gone now.
I think if it's not totally gone, maybe it's been incorporated into this new campus complex.
This must have been around Easter time.
I think so, judging by the Easter baskets.
So the house would have been over to the left side.
Over on the left side.
Wow.
Great.